even last week we saw them in the finals, so I would expect that No Anime Allowed has a pretty good shot here.
Well, your voice is a little robotic for me, but viewers have assured us that it's fine on their end, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Hopefully it clears itself up here as this set gets underway, but like I said, yeah, we've seen a lot of No Anime Allowed, definitely a familiar team for those of you new to the AGs, but Malicious 6, kind of a new name. Every once in a while, once we have, kind of lower signups, we do definitely see a couple teams we haven't seen in the semifinals before actually be able to make it this far. So we are going to get this one underway here. Again, no idea what to expect from these guys. It is Numbani, so it is, there is a possibility of making a hold at this point A, but they made it to the semifinals here. I wouldn't put it past them to be able to at least get some distance covered. We'll see what they want to bring to the tables. They do have that dive composition out here. Triple DPS, going with that solo healer with the Mercy. A little surprising, but a little bit of off healing, I guess you could say, from 76, but they have a lot of pressure to put out.
And right here, this is where it becomes very difficult with that solo support, where you have, you have guys like Nikke trying to jump in and be very, very aggressive. Now you only have one person who can actually heal them, and it can only be one person at a time. They're going to be slowly just kind of choked out and suffocated, and that's going to be that. No Name Allowed, again, just with a really solid first hold.
I'm not so sure how I felt about that solo healer. They're going to go ahead and move the Genji, though, over to the Zenyatta, so maybe just trying to apply a lot of pressure out of the gate here and put that Genji Tracer 76 into the back line, but didn't really get a whole lot, so he makes the change. Nonetheless, Hurix ultimate ready to go from forwards, so even going to be that much more difficult to get past that Valkyrie coming out from the Mercy.
But now we'll see, again, with this kind of initiation on this comp here, they don't really have a lot of ability to just aggress on that high ground. It's really just going to come down to Nikke just trying to throw them off. They actually do get them off, and that's going to open things up for Malicious 6 here.
Yeah, and on the other end, though, Hurix, it was Rampant Rhino and Tekka up top, applying pressure into the back line. The 76 wasn't able to make any ground whatsoever. They did find a little bit of a pickup there on the offensive side of things, getting rid of that Mercy, but it just didn't amount to too much when they didn't have any damage to put out. 76 tried to take the advantage of the high ground and was just shut down by the Winston Tracer and Hurix. Now they're sitting on 6 ultimates with 2:10 to go. They've made the hold so far without any use of them. I can't imagine what they're going to be able to do with all 6 of these.
This just doesn't look good as a start here for Malicious 6. They're going to go on to the point here. Tracer's not going to actually stick there to try to get them to pull off of that high ground. And already a stick coming out from Tekka.
Oh, man. He has not been able to do anything there. The 76, Dantana just shut down here. They do pull out the Transcendence from Paintbrush, but Hurix, they're sitting nice and healthy. D.Va just going to drop off the map here, or at least try to, and go back to the base, rethink their strategy down to 90 seconds here. What do you even do? Because this is No Anime Allowed just destroying them across the board.
I mean, they keep leaving their backline open, right? I mean, we see Nikke going in with Heppo, and what they do is they just open everything up completely for guys like Rampant Rhino and Tekka to just jump in onto Scorched Sanity and Dantana, and those guys have been largely just taken out of this game. Dantana actually just got his tack visor for the first time.
They're trying to take advantage of this high ground here, though. It looks like the D.Va Apodic's going to be dropped instantly here, just a little out of position. The rest of the team not really with him. Down to 60 seconds here. You got to think they've got a few ultimates. They've got 4 locked and loaded, actually 5 since the D.Va has hers ready to go here. They need to make something happen. This tactical visor from Dantana has to get something going. They have to take care of this forwards on the Mercy in particular to get things in their favor.
Now we're going to see a little bit of Tracer on Tracer, Harmony Orb in favor of Tekka, so he's going to have a huge advantage here, but Sugar Free pops off the high ground, and he's going to have that tack visor available when that D-Matrix goes down.
Nikke on that Winston pops the Primal Rage, knocks him off the high ground. Transcendence on the point. Here's a tactical visor coming out. Dantana trying to get something going for himself here, but it's just the Winston. No, finds Tekka on the Tracer. Maybe an opportunity to pull this one back here with Rampant Rhino off the board. Forwards is still in the air as the Mercy running around, but he's without any help here. It's kind of a desperation move now on the side of the offense, but they've got the numbers here. They should be able to secure this one.
It looks like they are going to be able to just sneak this one out. I mean, really, really close there. I'm not even sure. I mean, at that stage, it really seemed like we were going to be seeing No Anime Allowed pulling that one out as a first point hold, and they really looked like they were deserving that hold as well.
That's certainly the case, but Malicious 6 actually getting a little bit of ground here. They have minimum, I mean, 230 isn't much to work with, Curix, but if there's any map that you could easily push through to that second checkpoint, I'd say it's New Bonnie. You know, it can basically be one team fight if you play it correctly here, and they're playing rather aggressive to push back, no anime allowed, so having kind of a troubling time. Looking to make a push onto the payload. Rampant Rhino, though, looking to make an opportunity, looking to create some space here and try to stop that.
And he's going to do just that, killing off Nikke, who's had a really rough go of it so far. He's just been pressured out completely. I mean, Sugar Free has just been all over him alongside Tekka.
Self-destruct doesn't find anything here, but now no anime allowed. They've got the numbers. They push him back. They pick up a few remaining kills. 90 seconds to go. Single team fight probably would secure that second checkpoint because it is such a far spawn here for the defense here. But again, they have to find a way to get things going for themselves. Sitting on a tactical visor, that could be what they need. Try to shut down forwards, get rid of paintbrush as well with that Transcendence.
The two things that really worked for them were the tac visor inside of the Transcendence. They're going to have both for this fight. Now they're going to have to see if they can get a 2-for-2 action going on.
They might have that pulse ball, though. They do flop out that Transcendence from both sides to get things started. Self-destruct is up in the air. See if he can find anything. Not going to be the case, though. Forwards is coming up on that Valkyrie, so he's actually going to get taken down. Good play coming out from the D.Va. Gets up in his face. They pop that tactical visor out from Vantana as well. Is he going to be able to find any targets? It looks like Sugar Free going to drop here. They've got the Valkyrie out from the Mercy as well. Hurix, he's going to get taken down, but not before he picks up two of his teammates. But Hurix, the D.Va is still in the area. The Winston is still here. They've got the 2-on-2 advantage, given the fact they've got the tanks, and it looks like they're going to hold on.
Vantana is under pressure. He's going to actually die to Rampant Rhino, who had about 30 HP. Now it's going to be Tracer versus Baby D.Va, and Baby D.Va has the Tracer down to 1 health, but going to have to pull out as he's going to need some assistance as people come back up onto the point from the attacking side of Malicious 6. Now, we do see the pulse spawn ready here for Mole or T, but I haven't seen much out of it so far.
Well, they have an opportunity.
Oh, there it is!
Them short pulse bomb, like you said, finds the stick there. Forwards does have Valkyrie. Going to be able to bring them back up into this one. Self-destruct. They need to stay on the payload here. Nobody's on the payload here for the defense, and that's going to be Malicious 6 getting themselves that final 90 seconds here to try to complete the map. 2 checkpoints in overtime, but they've done it here because they have another opportunity to push it the distance.
Man, and it's just fight after fight after fight. It seems like Malicious 6 has been just not getting the better half at all of no anime allowed, and somehow sneaking out these objective captures in just like basically overtime every single time, right?
Pretty much, and a lot of that coming out with pretty much a first kill. I mean, that first stick coming out onto, I believe it was onto Sugar Free. They popped the Resurrect, but
oh, no.
Everything seeming to go in favor here of Malicious 6. The time, though, on the clock isn't a whole lot. This is going to be no anime allowed, playing rather aggressively, as we did see the Mercy actually move over to Ana here, and they changed the Zenyatta back to Mercy. So a little bit of a switch coming out there from the support players for the offense, but no anime allowed here. I like their chances. Down to 20 seconds to go here.
I think a big reason why they did this is because I think their tanks are having a little bit of a struggle trying to stay alive. So I think they're just trying to kind of shore up the lack of sustain that they have by throwing in more single target healing. But I don't know if this is going to work because these guys are just going to be super susceptible rather to just being jumped on, and they're going to lack a little bit of that damage too.
They pop out all the ultimate Sugar Free with that tac visor, and they've got a Transcendence at their back, but no kills coming through thus far. Oh, the self-destruct not quite going to find Rampant Rhino, able to drop that shield and keep himself nice and healthy here. We're in overtime, of course. It's going to tick down rather quickly the longer this kind of ensues, but there's an Earth Shatter comes down, able to connect onto 2 of them, if not 3. I think the plug was also hit here. The big Reinhardt Shatter coming up clutch here for Malicious 6, and they're going to continue to drudge forward in overtime.
Paintbrush going to die on the point. They can take a little bit longer there, and that's going to be everybody back up from Malicious 6 as they get the res off onto their Tracer, who's not going to have to spend that extra time going. But remember, this is in overtime, so if they lose this next fight, or any fight, or they get thrown off of the point for just long enough, this will be it.
No ultimates from either side other than Tekka with that pulse bomb if he can find anything, but no, he's going to be dropped here. Self-destruct is out, going to try to knock them off the payload. And Dantana with the tactical visor able to find the plug here, because there was no defense matrix. He had thrown out that self-destruct. Not quite going to be able to find anything, though. They've got all 6 on the payload. This is not good at all here for No Anime Allowed. Forwards is going to be taken down. Tekka with a pulse bomb. He's going to find one, but nobody's on the payload. And they secure all 3 checkpoints in overtime here. Man, that quickly went from, I mean, a full hold to looking like Malicious 6 could pull out a first map victory.
I think it would be pretty difficult for them to pull that off. I still think this map is going to go much in favor of No Enemy Allowed. I think they're going to have a good time. They're going to be able to, you know, since that finish was in overtime, I don't think they're going to be stopping No Enemy Allowed with under a minute. So I think No Enemy Allowed is going to have another opportunity to go for that first point take in overtime, and I think we'll probably see them winning this out 4-3 with that 33% take on that first tick. But we still have a lot of play before that. That's just, you know, a prediction, a little bit of conjecture, but still, I think No Enemy Allowed has got to be a little disappointed with that, because as you were saying, it's just in overtime they could have made the stop at so many different points in that map, and they just kept letting it slip through their hands. And I definitely think that when they do VOD review of this match tomorrow, they're definitely going to be looking at this map and saying, you know, what happened? How did we let that go 3 different times where it was in overtime? We had the ability to take it. Those fights were winnable, especially on that first one. I think that their DPS just kind of got out of position. They just got a little bit overconfident, overzealous maybe, by going very aggressively onto the point. But nonetheless, still I think a little bit of a disappointment for No Enemy Allowed. But Malicious 6 definitely looking a lot better than I anticipated.
A lot better indeed. I mean, Hurix, how many pushes did they make on that first checkpoint? And it just looked absolutely abysmal. And I feel like maybe, you know, Anime Allowed get a lot, you know, got a little cocky there towards that first checkpoint, you know, at the end, Hurix, which kind of, you know, gave it over to Malicious 6. But even the second and third ones, I mean, that was just Malicious 6 riding that momentum all the way to the finish. And now look what they're bringing to the table. They've got a Bastion locked and loaded here in the back. They've got the Orisa to support it. They got the Mercy damage amplifying that Bastion ready to go. Let's see what No Enemy Allowed can do up against this.
This is all about proper usage of tank cooldowns. Tekka already getting a nice start there, at least by finding that first kill, but Mullerty just in the background making sure that he's cleaning things up as well. And with those kills that he's getting right now, Malicious 6 is going to be able to hang on completely on the back of their Tracer player, Molar.
Oh, but that Orisa shield is no longer protecting it. It looks like it kind of is, but I don't think it actually is. So he's going to be forced to drop down. And Tekka, you need to find a way to get a grip on this Tracer. He is coming up with a few kills for himself, Hurix, but it is no match for the Bastion, who is nice and healthy on the point right now. 60 seconds have elapsed. Need to find a regroup here from the offense.
Tekka is now taking Muller on, but it's going to be tough to actually find this kill with Recall being back up. And they're going to get themselves in a little bit of a 1v1 once again. If Tekka can find this kill, which he won't now with Mercy getting involved in it, and he's actually just taking his sweet time to get that Recall out, but still, I don't know. We're going to have to see how this goes. Sugar Free, in the meantime, is making sure that he's taking good use of the effect that Muller isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, once Dantana goes down on the Bastion, man, I mean, all the damage you really have is going to be from that Tracer, and Muller up against Tekka. I like Tekka in that matchup, and they're going to be able to come out on top in a much quicker time than what we saw from the side of Malicious 6. So they're going to have themselves 4 minutes and 45 seconds to try to grab that second checkpoint. And we do see Dantana now making the adjustment over to the Genji. Nika as well, going to move over to the Winston. Pretty much what we saw earlier, other than Dantana being on the 76. But look at this aggressive playstyle coming out from No Enemy Allowed here. They're going to try to one-man push that payload as far as they can.
That was just really smart stuff from Tekka before, where he was just eliminating Muller from that fight. That means that there was no threat at all to their backline. They could just take their sweet time with that Bastion. That was really good stuff there. Malicious 6 just not quick enough to be able to deal with Tekka or just have Muller come back. Now they're going to be very aggressive here, looking to try to take advantage of the fact that this Genji here, Dantana, doesn't have any ult charge, and they might be able to get something going, maybe shut him down before we can get a lot of progression towards this Blade, but that's not going to be the case. Malicious 6 still fighting away on this one.
Great sound barrier coming out there from the defense, and as well as we see this Mercy ultimate come out from Scorch, so they're going to stay nice and healthy as he's just going to free fly in the air. Transcendence coming out though from Paintbrush, see if they can pull him back in the fight. Barrage up top, Sugar Free finds one, looking for another, but not quite going to be able to connect here as Lucio is able to skip the safety. With that in mind, they've got the spawn advantage, they've got the numbers. They're going to be able to move this thing forward here, but they need to be wary. Dantana coming up on a Dragon Blade potentially for this next engagement.
And they're still low here. Heppo, without a lot of his defense matrix charge, he's finally going to get that back in, which is going to be necessary for Nikke to even go in and contest the point. Otherwise, he's going to take way too much damage here. And I think a big factor so far for No Anime Allowed is the fact that they've had this Pharah able to keep this Mercy out of harm's way, away from Muller T, and also just been pulling the tanks away from the main fight on the objective a little bit too.
Dragon Blade is out though from Dantana. Can he find anything with the swipe of the sword? Looking to get to the back line, but no. Rampant Rhino with the great peel comes back, keeps Mercy and 76 alive here, but you still have that. Winston, no checkpoint secured. They hop off the payload. That's not a good look at all here for the defense. Dantana, he makes a move over to McCree here, but honestly, Malicious 6, that kind of looked like they could have held on for a little bit longer, but just not paying attention to where their numbers were located.
They're going to surge forward. Just under 4 minutes here, Storm, left to go in this. And so far with a really solid pace. Have a couple of ults coming up. Another barrage. They also have both Mercies actually having that Valkyrie ready to go.
And Forward's going to go and pop this one as Sugar Free is taken down. Dantana out of the picture as well. That's going to be a good sign for Sugar Free on the Pharah. Of course, he's going to get res back into this one here. You got to remember, if we do see No Anime Allowed complete this map with 60 seconds or more, Malicious 6 will not have an additional opportunity to push for the second attempt here. But oh man, they're going to lose their Zenyatta on the point as well. Here, it's kind of going to be a scramble back to the point. They do find a pulse bomb kill on the Rampant Rhino though, pretty much evening the odds right now. And of course, the picks are going to go in favor of the defense, or excuse me, if it's even trades, it's going to go in favor of the defense here. But nobody's here. Nobody's back in time. Dantana trying to make it. He's going to get stuck with the pulse bomb. Tekka kills himself, and they're going to complete the map with 3 minutes in the time bank.
Which is all the time that they're going to possibly need to be able to get that first 33%, which is all they actually have to get. I think that's more than enough time for them to be able to pursue that. Now, this map still, I think, went pretty well for Malicious 6. I mean, obviously, this was a map that they weren't looking too solid on, but they stayed in it. You know, they stayed in the realm of competition. They were really pulling out a couple of fights that I think were pretty tough to win out, and I think Muller had a couple of really good showings there on the Tracer. But overall, just as a team, it seems like No Anime Allowed is just kind of a couple steps ahead here. You know, anytime that we do see an advantage going over to Malicious 6, it's taken completely away from them. You know, they had the Tracer on that first defensive fight that they had, just going in, suppressing the back line while the front line was completely, you know, trying to just look at that Bastion. It was really tough for them to be able to deal with that, and because of that, Muller was able to find a lot of kills and was really, really effective in that first fight. Now, going into that second fight, complete adjustment. We saw Tekka staying in the backline, pulling Muller away from that fight, and now there's no pressure. There's nothing to deal with that backline, and they were able to just walk right into the point with Sugar Free on that Bastion. Had a lot of support from the dive coming in from Rampant Rhino and Plug. So, I mean, that kind of stuff, that adaptability, certainly on the side of No Anime Allowed, and we haven't seen as much of that so far from M6.
3 minutes is going to be a heck of a time to hold if you're Malicious 6 right now, and they're not going to be going back to the Bastion here. It didn't work for them. They lose their Zenyatta right off the bat. They don't have a Mercy here. How do you expect to be able to hold 3 minutes for 33% without a Mercy of all heroes? I don't like that idea at all here. They're going to get knocked off the high ground as well. Their Diva is going to lose the mech. Not a good start whatsoever. Sugar Free is not going to have any contest other than the Winston able to get to safety, and Hurex with that in mind. They've got an Ana, they've got a 76 and Tracer on the point. Is it enough to hold No Anime Allowed back? Zenyatta making his way back to the point, but they're all kind of being pushed off right now. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to touch this one, and No Anime Allowed. They take map number 1.
And it didn't even look like No Anime Allowed thought that they were going to be able to pull that off, because Paintbrush was sitting back halfway between his spawn and the point, just probably saying, let's regroup, let's go ahead and get everybody back up there. But then nobody got on the point at all for M6, and They lost the point because of it, and I agree. I think not having that Mercy is a big deal, but I think they were just a little bit too afraid of the Mercy getting jumped on and picked off early as an easy target, which is I think why they probably went for Ana Zen, who have a little bit more ability to kind of push people off of them when they have that support of their front line, Nikke and Heppo there as well.
Look at that border for Scorch Sanity. Holy crap, man. That is that's a lot of Overwatch play.
That is a lot of Overwatch play indeed.
We're getting it that far, man. Anyhow, we are headed to Kings Row for map number 2. So, you know, pretty similar, I'd say, in terms of the style. Obviously, the same exact game mode here, but Malicious 6, they showed their hand. They showed us that they've got something to offer here. What does that mean for this map number 2? You think they have an opportunity to push you to a game number 3? Or are you thinking this is going to be all no anime allowed?
Well, I'm curious to see what kind of comps we're going to see. I mean, obviously, Diva-wise and understanding the dive, being able to execute, very much in favor of no anime allowed. Kings Row is a very different map, though. I mean, Kings Row, you completely change the dynamic of how you walk into the point, how you push that objective, how you stay on the payload and everything. You know, where Numbani, you're going to see a lot of Winston, you're going to see a lot of Genji, Pharah, you're going to see definitely some Diva there for sure, especially on that first point, given the verticality, given the geometry of the map. Now, going over to Kings Row, you're going to see a lot more Reinhardt. You're going to be seeing a lot of Zarya. I mean, I would almost say like 80% plus pick rate on Zarya for this one, and it looks like we almost went back over to
I'm
Numbani.
just out of it today. I don't know what it is, man. I just keep starting the map without the correct map, man.
So looking at this map, I mean, it's completely different. It's a completely different change of pace. The dynamic is very much the opposite of what we saw in Numbani. So it's again kind of hard to predict. Obviously, things could only get better for M6 in a lot of ways, but it's going to be tough because we already know that Sugar Free has the ability to play those projectiles, and he's very good at them. He seems like a very dynamic player as well, just in the sense that he's played hit scan now. We've seen him on Soldier. He's played, and he's had a stellar performance on that. We've seen him on the Fair. He's been really strong there as well. Whereas now we're seeing a little bit of a switch up. Heppo going to be going from the Diva actually over to the Junkrat, which seems like they're going to have a little change of pace where Dantana might play tank, but they're actually going to be swapping off of the Junkrat, so they're not even going to have that. They're just going for that old school defense, which is going to leave Capitiano incredibly unsafe here. Okay, Muller is actually going to make... What are they doing? Make a decision!
I don't know, man. I don't know. They did change up sides here, so I just am informing you.
Already got it.
The overlay. Gotcha. Man, you're on it.
Yeah.
You've been on it for a while.
I did it in the lobby, actually.
You just know what's happening. You know what's happening. Anyhow, guys, game number 2 in our semifinal match between Malicious 6 and No Anime Allowed. Winner of this gets the opportunity to take on either Pure Esports or likely the favorite in Kungarna, and who actually named themselves Kungarna's Rap Playlist. So that should be exciting. I'm really thrilled to see if they're going to be in the finals and see if they're, if the winner of this has what it takes to take those guys on. Anyhow, on the offense this time around, it's going to be No Anime Allowed getting things started. They're going to be breaking out that Junkrat from Sugar Free, something we have seen from him in the past here. Can Dantana, can Muller, can they deal with him? It's the real question. We'll see what they're going to throw his way. We also have that Zarya coming out from the plug, so this should be a fun one nonetheless, but high ground coming out, Sugar Free going to look to contest up top. Dantana already getting pretty low. Scorch able to save him for the time being. No Anime Allowed looking for an entry.
This is really, really smart from No Anime Allowed, just pushing that Soldier back so he doesn't have that great angle that he's looking for. Now he's going to be forced off of that high ground completely. They have the advantage now. If they can just send Tekka back over, they actually will be able to just have multiple angles of threat. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're making the move. I think they need to be faster about this kind of rotation.
Oh, Mullard is actually way in the back, man. He's trying to pull their attention, divert it, and see if he can find a pick for himself. And he's got the pulse bomb. He was taken down, but looks like he should be able to get back in time. We're going to see a regroup come out from No Anime Allowed. Not quite the push they were looking for here, because they weren't able to find any space, and make any space for that matter. Find a way under the point in about a minute there. It's a kind of pointless push for the time being. Paintbrush also going to get picked off. Got to wait for him to get back up.
So they took the high ground away from Dantana, but they didn't take advantage of the angle that it created. This is their opportunity, though. Sugar Free going to go ahead and unleash that Riptire, sending it back into the back line here as Muller actually finds out how to kill off an Ana, and that's just...
No, not quite going to find anything here, but they are going to go ahead and pop that tactical visor check. Immediately going to be dropped. It's Dantana coming out on top in the engagement. Malicious 6 looking so dominant here on defense. Half the time is off the clock here. And what do you do? What do you change up? This time you don't have to worry about a tactical visor or the Valkyrie, but man, they are looking solid.
They're just so slow to make the rotations that are required with their composition. I mean, they found the kill onto Dantana, and then they just kind of sit there and wait for a Riptire pick. You already got the pick. Go!
Oh man, Hirix is not happy with their decision making. Graviton Surge comes up, but it's going to be a Transcendence combating that one here. Reinhardt charges in, trying to disperse it. Transcendence in the back, Paintbrush trying to come to the rescue. Earthshatter is going to lay 1-2 flat. Scorch is on the ground. Both supports off the board. A great play coming out from Rampant Rhino. Is the self-destruct what it needs, or what they need to pull it back here? So it looks like it finds the Mercy. I just don't know if that's enough. The D.Va, the lone survivor, will be taken out of the mech. And finally, some progress coming out here from No Anime Allowed.
And now they're going to be able to go forward, but it doesn't look like they're opting to do just that as people are coming back from spawn. The guy that really would probably be wanting to get some ult charge here is, you know, just coming out of that spawn. So Sugar Free right now going to be surging forward, missing that little jump into the window, but still going to be putting pressure onto that barrier from Nikke, and that's going to be huge because if Nikke doesn't have a barrier going into this fight, they're not going to be able to push forward down this long street, and then when it comes to time to be able to contest them on a fight, that Riptire is going to come out and they're going to have nothing to defend against it.
Looking nice and good here. Sugar Free coming out with a Riptire, see if he can grab anything for himself. Hirix, so what kind of an approach he wants to take. But they are going to be able to force him back for the time being. I mean, both supports are off the board. A double kill from the Riptire, and this is No Anime Allowed powering through. This is the kind of approach I expected from them to get the map started here, but it seems like they need a little bit of a ramp up time to get things underway. Still an opportunity to make a hold for Malicious 6, but a lot of ground given up off of that.
Now, Tekka right now holding on to what is a very strong ult here, and a change actually from Cap over to that Moira pick. So they're opting instead now to Death Bullet with this triple tank setup that they have.
You see the Valkyrie come out there from the defense. Earthshatter comes out. The Graviton Surge, it connects here. They lay him flat. We're going to see Scorch come in, see if he can get two back up. It's going to be both tanks on the other end. We're going to see the Earthshatter coming down from Nikke, but no follow-up damage is there. The Tactical Visor picks off the Moira, and that's going to be a second checkpoint confirmed here in just a matter of seconds. Dantana going to try to make his way onto the point and just die off with the rest of the squad, as is Scorch by a couple more seconds. But they're going to have 3:30 rolling into that second checkpoint here. Plenty of time to complete this map, as we do see Apodix actually make a change over to that Roadhog.
And what might actually be more important is just the fact that they have a huge advantage in momentum coming from that ult economy advantage now that they have. And pushing forward, if they get around this corner, if this Riptire finds anything, which it's not going to, as Cap finds that kill on the Moira, but still Sugar Free, still finding these kills regardless.
Man, they don't have a D.Va anymore to really soak up any of those, but even so, they went over that triple tank setup. Apodix going to try to get a few picks if possible, but and he does just that. Actually, the plug going to get dropped off. Tactical Visor, though, coming out from Tekka once again. He just had it in the previous fight here. They are dominating across the board. Graviton Surge and Coalescence come out, though. It's able to connect onto a few, but a Transcendence keeping them alive from Paintbrush for the time being. Down to 2 minutes and 35 seconds here. It's going to be a trickle back to the point. The Earthshatter, the hammer is down, but no, a Riptire comes out from Molar, able to find Rampant Rhino before he's brought back up into the mix here. They have 4 or 5 on the payload here from the defense, but here they're just not looking good at all. The Riptire connects onto 2, and No Anime Allowed. Finish the map out with 2:19.
Now it's back to the drawing board here as they go back to defense. Or they go on to attack now, whereas the defensive side here for No Anime Allowed, they're sitting there thinking, okay, we have to do better than what happened on Numbani. We don't want to let this one slip through our hands. And now you're going to be seeing them set back up. And again, this is a much different, this is definitely a change of pace here on Kings Row in comparison to Numbani, a very, very different style of map. But we saw, again, a little bit of those same things happen with M6, where there was a couple of adjustments that were made, actually, or rather a lack of adjustments made, which is actually kind of worse, where Sugar Free was taking advantage of some high ground, and they actually took their tank that would have been able to contest off of that pick And Heppo, who was on the Diva, who was the only person who would have been able to knock the Junkrat off in the first place, actually was on a Roadhog. So they had nobody contest the high ground. They had nothing that could have been able to do anything about Sugarfree, and he was able to take 2 easy kills after missing a Riptire just by getting up on top of that. And you know, when you lose momentum, when you already have a distinct disadvantage because of the ult economy that was certainly in favor of the guys over on No Anime Allowed, I mean, giving things away like that, that's exactly what kind of creates these situations, these scenarios where No Anime Allowed looks to be a lot stronger. You know, it's just little things like that.
Let's see what Malicious 6 can throw their way here, because they need to take the map. They need to come up with something here to be able to push this to a game number 3. I mean, they have to complete it at this point. You know, they could complete it in overtime and try to force a draw and push it to a best of 1, I believe, on like Lijiang Tower, but probably not the way they want to go out here. We'll see. As the defense, Sugarfree back on that Junkrat. He dominated across the board with it. This time around, Dantana currently sitting on the Widowmaker, seeing if he can find an early pick or 2 for himself. But Muller with that offensive Orisa here. They're going for a 5-tank setup with a Lucio healer. Ooh, that's going to be tough to do that. Honestly, they're putting all cards on the table here of trying to find some sort of pick with the Roadhog, because they're not going to have a whole lot of healing coming out there from that Lucio.
I mean, their big hope here is that Roadhog finds a hook, they just instantly kill, and they just push on through, deathballing with that Lucio healing. But that's obviously going to have to be swapped off of. They were trying to just throw a little cheat strat at these guys with the 5 tanks, but now switching it over instead to 4, and I think Nikke is actually going to swap now as well. So they're making that full adjustment, which is huge, because not only are they losing 45 seconds completely off of the clock before their first real engagement, but on top of that, they're also giving a huge ult advantage away by having to swap off of this and, you know, relinquish all of the charge that they have so far.
Riptire already coming out there. It's going to get dropped here as Podix actually looking to contest the high ground up against Tekka, able to make it to safety as the Mercy is in the area, looking for some aggression coming out here, as we're going to see, oh, the plug! The Earthshatter comes down, but Rampant Rhino so low, he gets hit with a Biotic Grenade, not going to be able to keep himself up, but in the back, Tekka, Tactical Visor, going to be able to clean up house at this point here. They also dropped the Valkyrie, I believe 3 ultimates dropped there from the defense, but No Anime Allowed, they make the hold.
I think it was actually 4, because at the beginning of the fight, Sugarfree actually popped his Riptire. Yeah, he's just back at 63 already.
I don't count that one.
Because he's already got it again, you know? I mean, he's back at it again.
What do you even do? This guy, Sugarfree, has been unstoppable, and then when he doesn't find anything with the Riptire, you know, Tekka comes up with the Tactical Visor. Going to drop it out once again. Look to get into that back if possible. But Tekka is the first to drop in the back. It's going to be the Lucio trying to drop the beat, but he's taken down. Nano Boost comes out. It's on to Nikke here, but doesn't have a whole lot of support at his back here. As the Transcendence comes through. Pink Rush is going to keep Rampant Rhino in this fight with that Transcendence. They're going to pull back a little bit. Nikke trying to get something with the charges. They've got the reinforcements coming back, and now no Anime Allowed. They're in a bit of trouble here. It's the Earthshatter, it's the Graviton Surge. They're going to clean this up from Malicious 6 and should be able to secure this objective.
That was such a huge grab, and then a little bit of that knockdown action coming out there from Nikke as well to just secure that. Really good stuff from M6 to solidify that. Now, moving forward, they have just under 4 minutes, but they have to go the distance here, and you know, they only get a minute and a half extra time from getting that second point. And you know, looking at this timing, it's just mathematically pretty much impossible for them to be able to secure a similar time, rather, to what they saw from No Anime Allowed. And if they lose any fights, that's just going to get further and further away.
Yeah, this is, I mean, they've got a decent amount of time to work with here in the streets phase. Not bad by any means. Better than, you know, capturing an overtime like they did on Numbani 3 times in a row. Graviton Surge comes out, and they are going to clean this one up off the back of the Plug's ultimate, set up perfectly for themselves. It's going to be an easy sweep across the board by a little bit of time off the clock here, and still sitting on 5 ultimates for the defense. This is going to be a rough couple of pushes for the side of Malicious 6, who are coming up on absolutely nothing.
Those are some very impactful ults, too. I mean, we should definitely see them taking out at least another minute or so off the time bank here. Malicious 6 going to have to deal with a tire now as it drops down. He's actually going to have to, come back quick, and Heppo found that kill, snuck it out.
Earth Shatter comes out. Rampant Rhino able to find one in the back behind the shield. Now they're going to go ahead and drop a Nano Boost out onto the offensive Reinhardt, and that's going to actually push back the rest of No Anime Allowed, despite having a massive ult advantage here. It's 5-0. They end up dropping this fight, and they're going to be able to make a hold, or at least a contest here before they get the second checkpoint here. But excellent play coming out there from Malicious 6, taking advantage of that 5-on-6 situation.
I think Rampant Rhino 360'd that Earth Shatter too. I'm pretty sure he actually did do that, which is something that we have seen before in the past. But Paintbrush now, ooh, somehow doesn't get hit by that Earth Shatter, but now gonna be pulling. Oh man!
Oh my goodness! The Graviton Surge pulled Rampant Rhino out of the way when the Earth Shatter came down here. It's able to connect onto 2, and that self-destruct was perfectly placed. Hopefully going to see that as the play of the game in action once again. Beautiful play coming out there from the side of Dantana and Heppo there, Hurix. They've got themselves 305 to try to complete the map.
And this man has definitely been the MVP for M6 so far. I mean, getting that first pick onto Sugar Free, he's been really doing a good job so far of contesting these DPS that have really just had so much space to work with. Sugar Free and Tekka, of course, having the better opportunities in terms of just overall DPS. Sugar Free finding a late kill on the Scorch there. The man himself with that diamond border, but as they pull back, again, Heppo, is he going to make a swap here? I think he's sticking to this. And I would continue to stick to this. It definitely is the best course of action, I think, for them at this stage. But now things are going to draw closer. 10 seconds until things are tied up time bank-wise, but they still have a lot of ground to cover.
And they're going to look to still... Oh, Graviton Surge actually coming out there from the plug again, but a Transcendence, but it doesn't matter. Sugar Free and Tekka, the damage is too much. They push past that Transcendence. They find the 6-man wipe across the board. That's going to be the team kill here. It's down to 205. And I don't know. I don't really like the odds of Malicious 6 right now here. Because, I mean, they don't really have any ultimates to work with. You're down to 2 minutes, and you still have to win multiple team fights. And more than likely, if anything, they can get an overtime push here. But it's not looking good. Let's see if they can pull through, find this Riptide from Sugar Free.
He's going to be way in the back with it. Now going to be able to contest from the high ground here a little bit as it's going to swerve around. And they find the kill right before he pulls the trigger.
Gonna allow for them to make a little bit of room. Look to move up onto Rampant Rhino right now, but you've got a Junkrat lobbing nades at you. I mean, what do? They can't even get past it. They're trying to heal themselves up to make a push. Earth Shatter comes down, able to land onto the Diva as Reinhardt narrowly escapes with his life. But Hurix, they have no way to move in off this. Earth Shatter comes down. It's going to be blocked by Rampant Rhino, and that could be their call to move forward.
Man, it's really tough for them to deal with Sugar Free here because he's on the high ground, so realistically only one person's going to be able to do anything about that, and that's going to be their Diva. And if the Diva goes forward, he's completely putting himself in a bad position to be taken advantage of and exploited, I guess, by Tekka, and to a degree Paintbrush as well. And as he goes across, the Plug's going to be able to hit him completely while his defense matrix is up. And speaking of the Plug, look at him just sneaking away. Gonna find a Graviton here onto the back line. Gets, everybody into it, actually.
They're going to go ahead and drop everything into this one here. It's dare to say it again. Another team wipe off the back of the Graviton Surge, the Tactical Visor as well. They even dropped the Nano Boost, I believe. It went on to, like, Dantana, I think, from the side of Malicious 6. We're down to under 30 seconds to go. It's going to take everything they've got to try to make a push, make a run for this map number 3 here. But Sugar Free taken down early on. Could be what they need to push him back a little bit. Looks like No Anime Allowed are going to be forced off of this payload and look for a regroup here to get all 6. Look for one final engagement to shut them down and move into the finals.
The Graviton is everything here. You need to find the kill onto the Mercy here, who's all the way in the background. We see the Graviton come down. They actually don't even get the Mercy, but they do with the self-destruct. How did he pull that off?
Rampant Rhino was too far out of position. He launched that Graviton Surge into the back. He wasn't able to get back with his shield in time, so they've got a fighting chance here. But forwards and Paintbrush, they're coming off a respawn. Do they have what it takes? Valkyrie is going to get popped. The Transcendence comes onto the payload. He's got 2 Resurrects to use. He's going to bring up Sugar Free. Graviton Surge is here. They're going to do it again. The Riptire, excuse me, that's going to be just Sugar Free. No Riptire necessary here. He drops them all in the Graviton Surge from the Plug. Tracer is running around, but Mullert, I don't know if you can do it alone, man. He's going to be taken down, and that's going to be No Anime Allowed punching their ticket into the finals tonight.
but almost letting it go again. Very, very close there. M6 putting on a show for us today in the semifinals, but boy, does No Enemy Allowed have a tough go of it going up against likely Kungarna in the next matchup, if it's not already, it is. Oh, it is.
It is. We'll get into that in a moment, but I do want to give a massive shout out to Malicious 6, man. They made it a set here. You know, they completed Numbani, nearly got to the end of King's Row up against, No Anime Allowed, which is nothing to really, be too disappointed in.
Epo, it looked real good there.
I mean, they consistently make it into the semifinals. They've made it into the finals multiple times with a chance to win it. So Malicious 6 giving them a run for their money. Congratulations, for making it into the semifinals.